So, it being 6:11, I'm gonna do my best Bob Connors impression here and call the meeting to order and ask Mason to read the preamble and take a roll call of the members.
Hello, everyone. As a preliminary matter, this is Mason Ferret, Conservation Agent of the Newbury Conservation Commission, and I call the October 1st meeting to order and permit me to confirm that all members are present and can hear me. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Mary Rimmer,
Yes.
TJ Conti, Mick Brown,
Yep.
Diane O'Brien,
Yep.
Woody Knight,
Yes.
and Bob Connors. Good evening, everyone. This open meeting of the Newbury Conservation Commission is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12th, 2020, due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. In order to mitigate the transmission of the COVID-19 virus, we have been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings, and as such, the governor's order suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. Further, all members of public bodies are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. For this meeting, the Newbury Conservation Commission is convening by Zoom, as posted on the agenda of the Conservation Commission section of the town's website, identifying how the public may join. Please note that this meeting is being recorded and that attendees are participating by video conference. Accordingly, please be aware that other folks may be able to see you, and that take care not to take care not to screen share your computer. Anything that you broadcast may be captured by the recording. Applicants or other representatives may be called upon to speak and or share information to the screen if available on the fly. We're now turning to the first item on the agenda. Before we do so, permit me to cover some of the ground rules for effective and clear conduct. The chair will introduce each speaker on the agenda, and after they conclude their remarks, the chair will go down the line of members, inviting each by name to provide any comment, questions, or motions. Please hold until your name is called. Further, please remember to mute your microphone or computer when you're not speaking. Please use earbuds or earphones, and please remember to speak clearly and in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. For any response, please wait until the chair yields the floor to you and state your name before speaking. Board and committee members should be called upon in first name alphabetical order to ease the process. After board committee members have spoken, the chair will afford public comments as follows. The chair will first seek questions through the chat function, and then the chair will seek questions from the public who wish to speak. They'll be asked to identify their names, address, and questions. Once the chair has a list of public commentators, they will call on each by name and afford 3 minutes for any comments. Finally, each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted by a roll call vote.
Great, thanks, Mason. So our upcoming meeting dates are October 15th and November 5th. So make note of that. And first item on the agenda is a minutes review for September 13th and September, which should be September 3rd. It's listed incorrectly on the agenda, and September 17th. So I'll give the members a moment to refresh their memories on the minutes and let me know if you have any comments on those. Seeing none, hearing none, do I have a motion to accept the minutes from 9/3/24?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Diane?
Yes.
Mick? Woody?
Yes.
And I vote in favor as well. And the minutes for September 17th, 2024. Any comments, corrections, additions? Okay, seeing none, hearing none, I would accept a motion to accept the minutes from September 17th, 2024.
So moved.
Second.
Second by Mick. All in favor, Diane,
Yes.
Mick,
Yes.
and Woody.
Yes.
And I vote yes as well. Thank you. The next item on the agenda is request for determination of applicability. We have one RDA for 14 Pine Island Road to construct and add a mudroom and 2-car garage to existing dwelling and property. Is the applicant or the applicant's representative present?
I believe John is here to speak on 14 Pine Island Road.
John, if you're here, We'd love to hear from you.
Yes, I'm here.
Oh,
Sorry, I
great.
had to unmute.
No problem. So, do you want to describe the project?
Yeah, so I'd like to add on to the existing dwelling, mudroom with a two-car garage.
Okay, Mason, do you have the plans that you can
Yep.
project for us?
So no plans for this one, but I can pull up the site map to show the resource areas, that
Okay.
would be.
Typically, we need some kind of a plan or a sketch of the work.
There were plans for this one.
Okay, there were, okay. Let me
Yep,
just see.
there's architectural drawings and then there was a plot plan. Unless I'm looking at the wrong one. Pretty sure it was 14 Pine, hang on.
Yep, I got it right here.
There's architectural plans.
Yeah. It was the RDA submission, arc plans and plot plan.
This is. Plot plan.
Okay, so so this doesn't show where the work is in relation to any wetland, so I am. I think maybe Mason, if you show the Mass GIS of that lot, if you can grab
Yeah.
that.
So here we have the lot, this is the existing house right here, and then the proposed mudroom and garage would be going in right here.
Okay, so it's hard to tell from this image. Can you put it on the aerial view? Yeah, there we go. Yeah, we lost the wetland overlay, but that's okay. So it seems like there's wetlands on both sides of the house, at least according to the DEP overlay.
Mhm.
I'm familiar with this property. I used to live across the street, and I know Mick is a neighbor as well.
Mhm.
So, do we have can you measure what the distance is from where the proposed addition is closest to the pond side?
Yep.
Okay, so more than 50 feet probably.
Yep.
And then if you, can you add the wetland overlay on this image?
I don't know if I can do it over
If you-
the
Yeah,
aerial.
you can see the layers of the top right. Yeah, right there. You can do it right there. Yep, and then if you go down to should load, if you go down to physical resources, physical, scroll down on the menu to the right. Physical resources right there. And then it go down to hydrology. Right, not hydrogeology, but hydrology, the next one down, yep. And then it should say DEP wetlands down below, right there. And just pick one of those. I can't see the whole screen, so.
Yeah. I'm not sure why it's not.
There,
over.
yeah, it's showing up just in light yellow, so you can see that there's wetlands on both sides of the house. Yep, exactly. So from that wetland line, on the right side there of the house. Yeah, closer to the house. Yeah, there's
There's a closer one.
there's a closer line. See the other line? They're right there. Yep. So it's maybe 40 feet or so from the wetland edge. Okay. And what are the dimensions, of the structure?
A 26 by 28 garage and a 9 by 11 mudroom. So the mudroom would come off the existing dwelling, and then there'd be an access door to the car garage, which is 26 by 28 deep.
Yeah. So my sense is that we need a little more information on this to be able to tell whether we've got an adequate distance between the wetland edge and the work area and where to put erosion controls, whatnot. So some of the work may be exempt because it's going to be more than 50 feet away, but I don't think that the garage addition is that's the case. I'm going to turn it over to Diane for any comments, and then I'll circle back.
My comments were on the plot plan. There's no wetland delineation of any kind. So it did make it difficult to figure out where the actual addition and, the mudroom and all that was going to be. And rather than just being a garage, it looked more like there's going to be a room upstairs. It was like an addition with a concrete slab and pilings. And it seemed like it may be a bit beyond an RDA. Or are there going to be concrete slabs being poured
Well,
for the
the house
garage
is
and the mudroom?
the house is on an existing slab, so we're planning on keeping it an existing slab, just adding on to the slab. There is a space going to be above the two-car garage, and it was just going to be living space, not bedroom, nothing like that. Just living space.
Yeah, I mean, it was just, again, it was the fact that they're putting pilings in all around. They're adding a concrete slab. The wetlands weren't delineated. To me, it sort of seemed like if this gets passed with an RDA, are we setting a bad precedent here? Because it sort of is an addition. I mean, it's a garage, there's room upstairs, there's stairwells, there's pilings.
Yep.
Mud, I mean, it seemed like they're connecting two areas and I wasn't even sure where they were on the map, honestly, as far as with respect to the wetlands. So that would be my comment.
Okay. Thanks, Diane. Woody, do you have any comments?
No, not right now. Thank you, Mary.
And Mick, do you have any comments?
And John, if you could you take your cursor and just kind of trace out where this, show us where this addition is going to be on this, on the map here?
I think that Mason is controlling the cursor right now.
Oh, is he? Oh, okay. Because is it extending out into the driveway, or is it extending as we look at it to the right of the house?
I believe it's extending this way. Correct me if I'm wrong, John.
Oh, okay.
You're
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah, if that's the case, I think just following up what Mary and Diane said, yeah, we just need to see a site plan that has the outline of the proposed construction in relation to the wetlands boundaries. That's really what we need at this point. It's tough to. We could never. I don't think we could do an RDA based on the information that we have right now. But
Yeah.
it's.
Go ahead.
We just need to kind of see it, where it falls with relation to the, to the wetland boundaries.
I do have a Hancock Engineering. When I purchased the property, I had the property surveyed, and they gave me a more detailed plot plan, which I can upload to the portal, if that would help.
Yeah, that would definitely help, especially if it shows the wetland boundary on there. Anything that's more than 3 years old, we'll have to re-inspect and make sure that it's accurate still. But that should be the basis for your site plan. And usually we'd have a site plan that would accompany the filing. So, and typically when there is active construction where there's excavation for a foundation and there's earthwork involved in new construction, it triggers a notice of intent, not a request for determination, which is reserved for projects that are very unlikely to have any potential for impact to wetlands, so. Not saying
Um,
that you can't get it approved, it's just we don't have enough information to be able to get it approved under this, under
Right.
what's been submitted. So,
So would there be another site review? Because Bob Connors and Mason both visited the site about a week and a half ago. So I just
okay,
curious.
yep, I'm not sure that we can. A site review at this point would be helpful because we need to see it on the plan and compare that with the field conditions. So I think the next step is to prepare a plan and then you can show it to Mason and he can give you some guidance into whether or not we think that this is can be done in under a request for determination or if it requires a notice of intent. My sense is most likely it's going to be a notice of intent for the extent of construction that you're proposing. Are there any members of the public that would like to comment on this project? Does anyone in the chat, any comments in the chat? I'm not able to monitor that from here.
I don't see anything.
Okay. So, my suggestion to you is that, John, is that you request either a continuance of this meeting to the next meeting so that you can, figure out what you need and how long it will take to prepare the additional information. Or alternatively, you can withdraw the request for determination and just refile when you're ready.
Yeah, we'll continue it. I do have some of the documentation. I'll upload and speak with Mason.
Okay,
And get you a more detailed location of the addition and.
we
That's
can
not
give
a
you some better guidance at that.
Yeah,
point.
that's not a problem.
And what's your construction schedule? Is this something you're trying to get in the ground this fall?
I was hoping to break ground. And get it weather tight before the winter. So
Yeah,
we'll see.
that might be tough with our meeting schedule and if you have to file a notice of intent and it just by the time you get the decision and the appeal periods lapse and everything else, then you're probably going to be well into December. So that may not be feasible for this fall.
That process typically takes 4 to
Yeah,
8 weeks or,
you need to submit the information 2 weeks prior to a meeting.
Yeah.
We have, and there's a butter notification requirements, and then we would hold a hearing. May or may not need a site visit because some members have already been to the site. So we close the public hearing and we have 21 days to issue a decision. Even if we can try to turn that around quickly, there's still, once you receive it, a 10 business day appeal period. So, you're 6 weeks anyway, at the
Yeah.
best case scenario. So,
all right, yeah, so let's continue it and I'll get you guys the information.
okay, we'll revisit that. And if at some point you want to, continue it again, just let Mason know and we can make that change.
All right, great. I appreciate it.
Does anyone
Thank
else
you.
have any thoughts on this? On the board?
No,
Okay.
No.
So at the applicant's request, this matter is continued until the meeting on October 15th.
Sure.
All in favor? Mick? Oh, you're muted. Mick.
I was on mute. Aye.
Yep, Diane,
yes.
Woody,
Yes.
and I vote in favor as well. Okay, we'll be in touch, John, or you'll be in
Okay.
touch with us.
Thanks for your time. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, John.
Okay, the next matter on the agenda, enforcement orders. The first enforcement order is to Old Point Road Sunset Club for unpermitted work. I think we're gonna be tabling that for discussion tonight. The notice of intent is on the agenda further down on our agenda, which may be continued. The next item is 105 Northern Boulevard for unpermitted work. I believe that we're tabling that one as well. Mason, is that correct?
Yep.
We're waiting for some plantings.
correct?
And
That's,
go ahead.
they actually, I went by there, they actually planted.
Oh, good.
And I don't know, it looks great, but I don't, maybe they're waiting a while to see if it takes root, but there's seagrass everywhere.
Okay, great. So there's progress on that one, and hopefully the homeowner will be back in touch to try to release the enforcement order.
Yep.
We have an expired order for 108 Main Street subdivision for unpermitted work. Can you give us an update on that one, Mason?
I believe this is getting tabled too. They are continuing just to wait on construction and work for this one. I believe that they're gonna be coming back within the next meeting or two.
Mhm.
Either with a new NOI or looking to continue.
Okay, if you could just touch base with them and check on the progress for that, that'd be great.
Yep.
3 Newburyport Turnpike unpermitted work that is also on our agenda for under notice of intent. So we're gonna skip over that one for now. There's a expired order of conditions for 30 Riverview Drive for unpermitted work. You want to give us an update on that one?
Yep, so I received a complaint last week about some work being done in the wetland without permitting. I was able to go out to the site and meet with the homeowner, Russ. Pretty much what was happening out there is there's existing drainage going across the street, and there was needed repairs to it. This is something that DPW hasn't been on top of, so this was causing a pretty large amount of flooding in their yard, and it was having a negative impact on their property. So Russ took it into his own hands to make the gradient more uniform, and allowing kind of the water and wildlife to transport through as it should. From my eyes, every part of this work seemed necessary and needed, and I really think he helped out a lot of the neighbors during the process. I can share my screen and show you some of the photos that he shared with us. And Russ is also here, so he can kind of explain his intentions behind the project as well. But right here in this first photo, you can kind of see where the problems were starting. So Russ, if you want to kind of take over and let the commission know what was going on.
Yeah,
thanks.
thanks guys. In the top, like the top photo, the top, are you driving the mouse there,
Yep.
Mason? Yeah, so like right there, there's a pipe that goes out. There was an underground 10-foot corrugated pipe that you'll kind of see right there that goes out. So basically the water runs down the street, goes onto the property, then goes out through that drain, or supposedly goes through that pipe, and then that's out to Tender Crops retention pond out there. Unbeknownst to us for quite some time, that pipe had been run over by a tractor by one of the workers. So that's what it looked like when we finally were like, why is the water not going through this pipe? And it was like 10 feet, it looked like that in that. So basically there's no way the water comes in, there was no way for water to go out. So we have over the years, as you mentioned, there's a across the street too. I don't know if you want to keep going, I think. Yeah, so like two, yeah, that right there. The next photo down shows how much that's where the water would run off the street down into this little, like, call it a swallow catch basin area, whatever you want. The town, I don't remember the last time they came and dug that out, but they used to come and dig it out. And then if you scroll down, I think the photos are about 5 years apart, if I recall. It's completely filled in. My neighbors are, you can't even see the neighbor's house anymore. Like that's the same angle in the same spot right there. So you can see it's completely grown in. So the water basically pulls up, goes under this pipe underneath the street right there, and then would just kind of ooze out onto the lawn. So we basically like just followed the path of it, kind of scraped it out. And I think, yeah, if you look up, sorry, go back down like 2 more, Mace. Yeah, like right there. That's the end of it where it comes out now. We extended the pipe. It's probably less than 6 inches under the ground, just where we had kind of dug out where the water channeled. We were going to do that all the time. It just was expensive to put the pipe in, but we had that perfect rainstorm the other day. The water ran perfectly, exactly how it should. Like, in my opinion, to stop my neighbors. I think yeah. So the underneath picture, the water would basically run into every neighbor's like yard and flood them out because it couldn't go out. So I put in like that little like kind of off the side culvert on this side so the water can just go in there and then get to that spot before it crosses over. And you can see like we've marked it off now in the top right corner, like it of the where the pool is there, I guess if you want to call it, like drain pipe. So like the people don't run it over anymore. And we made it longer than it was. It's just the only way that the tractor gets from like one side of the Swallow to the other on Matt's farm. So again, I apologize, but I think it's working perfectly the way it should, and just draining the property instead of flooding everybody's properties like that first photo.
So that's what we're looking at, the outlet end, that pond?
Yeah, and but then
No,
it
down
goes,
below, the last one, the last image is the outlet?
that's an
Yeah,
outlet
second
before it
to the-
crosses over. Like, so that's on my property.
Okay,
And then it crosses over that little grass stretch, and then it's probably a 300-yard run into Matt's retention pond.
okay, so you excavated on your property, a kind of a 4-bay type thing, but that will drain into this?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, Matt's totally for it. Like, he's happy. I mean, Matt, he, in fact, one of the areas that we graded, I think in the other picture you'll see, I mean, we're using shells that are, they were using
Yep.
shells to also help with just drainage. If it does come off the street, it will right there.
Yep.
Those are just seashells right there. Just to try to like hold water and let it absorb in a little bit more, but instead it was just flooding everybody's yards. My neighbor's still dealing with a really bad flooding issue on that other side. And
Yep.
again, we've called the town, I've driven to the DPW and asked if they can come down on days like that when you see it. I mean, that's extreme rain, but as soon as we got rid of the clog and realized what the problem was, it just flowed. It's been flowing fine.
okay. So this is a really unusual situation where basically it seems like it's the town's responsibility to maintain the drainage structure that's under the road. A homeowner has taken it into their own hands to do this, but the work that's been done is certainly in a resource and should have had a notice of intent, possibly a emergency certificate at least, which then has to be followed up with a notice of intent. But it's not clear to me if it's the homeowner's responsibility to file the notice of intent or the town's at this point, and whether or not there's any additional mitigation, restoration, stabilization that needs to happen following this work now that the flow has been reestablished. So this probably is something that needs a site visit, or at least I'd like to be able to see it and think about, what it is that we should do about this as a follow-up, since we can't really have property owners, going out and doing this thing, without the town's permission, without DPW knowledge, or without compliance with the Wetlands Protection Act, even though it looks like, it was kind of I don't want to know if it was an emergency, but certainly a concerning situation with the backup on the flooding, potentially impacting people's wells and septic systems and things like that. So I'm going to turn it over to Diane and see if she has some thoughts on this.
And what I had written was, who owns the pipe that was all crushed with and filled with the dirt? Is that a town?
No, that's Matt Kazaki. That's private property. He doesn't have to do anything to it.
Yeah.
So I asked him, I said, Matt, he knew that the water was, he didn't really care, he's like, if you want to fix it, you can fix it. He's like, but I'm not, it doesn't really bother me, so.
Okay.
I mean, it made our properties better, but I think I said to Mason, I said, what what happens if Matt decides to close that pipe off? Then what? That's my, I'm not afraid of that. We have a great relationship with Matt. Like I mean, we're friends. Like, so I'm not worried about him doing that, but it was more, it's like the water goes to an area and then there's no, it would just stop if he wanted it to, I think, because he could just plug that and be done with it.
Yeah, I just didn't have a
Why
sense
that
of,
actually, that other side was kind of more important on the other side of the street there that hasn't been dug out, because that used to be almost a pond. Like I remember when 15 years ago, that was like a pond on that other side. And it has just filled in and filled in and filled in over the years, and they haven't come back to dig it out.
and that was sort of the question, is like, whose responsibility it is it? It looks like it's private property.
It
And
is correct. It is private. It's on my neighbors. That the majority of that belongs to the house in the picture. They kind of split, the property line splits right on that pipe, more or less. I mean, maybe the neighbor right there owns another 2 feet past the pipe. But are they allowed to deal with that? I mean, they would love to. It's a single mom. I feel bad for it, you know. I mean, it's a single mom. She's not real handy. Like, we've helped her out with most of the things around the house, and she's kind of at a loss, doesn't really know what to do at this point.
yeah, I mean, I think it's they would be allowed to do something about it. It's just a matter of, by just looking at the pictures and everything, the process, if you want to call it that, doesn't seem like
Mhm.
it's been adhered to. And then, like Mary was saying, it just becomes an issue of like, whose responsibility is it? Is the town even involved? Maybe not, I don't know. Because if it's all private land, then the town really can't go on. Like, you said you were calling DPW, but what was their response? Did they say that they were responsible in any way?
We never got like we never really got a straight result. I don't know if there was turnover there, but like nobody really knew. Everyone kind of was like, oh, I'll ask and come back again. And I mean, we're only like 3 blocks from the DPW, you know what I mean? So I think it was more like kind of passing the the buck to somebody else. And it just got to the point where, like on our side in particular, I was like, I'm sorry, but I was like, I'm just going to deal with the flooding. And between Matt and I didn't think it had to be, because I thought, okay, it clearly Matt has to be involved because our property line touches his property line. And he was like, I'm in if you're in, and we did it. And I apologize for it, but I mean, I think it looks I think it looks great. We've already seeded it. I mean, it's almost like it's I'm not exactly sure what else to say other than I mean, we didn't ask for anyone to pay for it, because I figured it was on our property. I thought we have to deal with our own private property, and the flooding is on our property. And you can ask any of the neighbors from that point on down the street, they'll all say it's drier. You know, I mean, it's definitely drier than it was.
Yeah, the
Yeah, now,
concern is that
Adam-
it was a wetland and so
Well-
the problem is that you alter the hydrology of a wetland that is supposed to be a resource that's being protected. So if it's now being drained and it can no longer function as a wetland,
didn't-
then that's what we need to figure out.
Yeah,
It's hard to tell from these images. So I think, rather than taking up too much time during this meeting, because I don't think we're going to be able to get to the bottom of this without taking a look at it and doing a little bit more research. This has just come to mind today. So,
yeah. If I might bring up one more point though, there is the plot plan that I had got that on the street. Wetlands is on the other side of the street. It's not on our side of the street.
okay, yeah,
Like I've seen I went to the town hall and got the look, like that's behind, I'm not sure if you probably know the street, but the other side of that is all where they just went through that whole process of to put that new development back in there. And even that's
Mhm.
made our land even wetter, in my opinion, because it's wetter on the other side of the street now. But it just comes underneath the street and then went straight across right out the other end of but I know like I've seen the symbols. I mean, I know the symbols for wetlands, and there's no wetlands on our property
doesn't really
based
mean
on
that,
the plot.
yeah, you can't
Okay.
rely on the if you're talking about
Okay.
Mass GIS symbols on the online version
Uh,
or on a plot plan that you have of your property?
Mace, I don't know
You
if you
say
can help
the-
me with what that I was looking at, what that.
Yeah, so that was
Oh.
that was the Mass GIS.
Yeah, that's not a definitive determination of where wetlands
I
are, so
apologize.
we can't,
Okay.
that's all right. It's a good starting place, but just because
Okay.
it's not shown or mapped on that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. So
Gotcha.
I'm gonna just quickly ask Mick if he has any comments or thoughts on this.
No, my only concern is like, as you're talking, there's multiple property owners involved here, right? You're doing some work on your property and your neighbor's property, and we've got town property involved, and I think for your own benefit, it's probably a good to hash out where work has been done, where work needs to be done, because we have multiple parties involved here, and from my, just I'll maybe refer back to you, Mary, how does that work when you've got multiple property owners involved and
It's
Yeah,
it's
They
only
can
our
see-
property though. I'm sorry. It's only our property really. I shouldn't be speaking for my neighbors. They could, I guess, speak for themselves, but it's really my property that is the issue.
it's where the work occurred, Mick. So if it's
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
on his property
apologize.
and that work where the work occurred.
Yeah.
You know, he may need to file a notice of intent just to
yeah, I just wanted to make sure, you know,
document it and
that we-
understand.
yeah, we hash through that just so if there's other responsible parties, we get them involved as well.
Yeah.
It's not just all on
Right.
his.
That's a great photo
Yeah.
too, by the way. So all we did was put a pipe in that little creek that we had kind of watched the water follow. And we just, it's basically that one picture shows it's probably not more than, I don't know, 6 to 12 inches at some point of like just fill, not fill, but loam over the top of it.
Okay.
That was a good picture though.
Woody, do you have any thoughts?
I'm familiar with the area, and really a site walk's needed, and like, for the sake of time, that's all I have for right now.
Okay. What do folks feel about a site visit? I know we usually do Tuesdays. I'm not available next week. You guys could do one on your own, and our next meeting is what, the 15th? Yeah. We could do, on the 14th is Columbus Day. Okay. So,
I cannot do the 15th, but you're probably more important.
how about this week over the weekend? Saturday, Friday? Is anybody available?
Not available Friday, could be available Saturday.
It could be Saturday morning.
I could be Saturday, but I don't know. Yeah.
How about Mick? Are you available Saturday morning?
Saturday morning, I believe I am, not Friday morning. But Saturday morning I could be available.
And Woody?
I'll be around, just.
Okay.
give
What
me
time?
and date. Be there.
8:30, 9 o'clock,
Yeah, 9's good.
9 o'clock,
Um,
Are we talking Friday or Saturday?
Saturday morning. Are you coming from Medford?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on Saturday, so I'll take a ride up there, so that 9 o'clock on Saturday morning will work.
Okay. All right. Are you, John, are you available at that time? To show us around?
Us, you mean?
Yeah, Russ, will you be available then?
Yeah, am I
Available at
Oh,
9 o'clock
sorry.
on this Saturday?
Yes, yeah,
Okay,
no problem. Yeah, that'd
All
be
right.
great.
all
Perfect.
right. And your address is 30 Riverview?
Yep.
Okay, great.
So right, if you're driving down
schedule-
1A, right before.
Let's schedule something for 9 o'clock on Saturday, the
5th,
5th. Thank you.
yeah.
Okay.
Mason, can you send out a reminder? Because my memory's a sieve, so.
I gotcha, will do.
Yeah, thanks.
Will
I
do.
need that too.
Thank you
All
very
right,
much.
great. Thanks, John, and we'll see you then. on
Yeah, thank
Saturday.
you, John.
Okay.
Okay, thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
We'll see you then.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is DEP file number 50-1419, 62 Middle Road. there's an active order of conditions. I believe it hasn't expired yet. We did a site visit 2 weeks ago. I think Mason has an update since then because there has been some additional work done.
Yep, yeah, so we issued a verbal enforcement order on the sidewalk due to some things being pushed into the buffer zone. And since then, the homeowner's son, who is actually doing the work, fixed everything that we would want to see fixed. He stabilized the area and put up the relevant erosion controls as well. And I can share those pictures. Second. So in this area before, there was a tree that had been pushed into this buffer zone area. And we had told the homeowner and the person that was doing the work that we did not want to see that tree dragged out of the buffer zone to see any more impacts to the wetland area. So we had him chop it up and remove the fallen tree from the wetland area, establish erosion controls where the pre-existing flags were, and then seeding and stabilizing the backyard. Yeah, and that's about it in terms of new work that has happened.
Okay, so it looks like it's back into compliance with the order of conditions. I haven't seen it myself, but these pictures are pretty, a vast improvement over what was there before. I don't know, did they say whether it had been seeded or just mulched?
Mulched and seeded, and then he has
Okay.
sprinklers on it as well, trying to
Get something to
establish.
grow in this fall, okay.
Yeah.
So, and they're looking for a certificate of compliance, but we're still not there yet, so once they have some vegetation, stable soil conditions, then we can talk about that, but I think we're not quite there yet, so that's my thought. Mick, do you have any thoughts on this one?
No, that was my first, was just till we have vegetation established, we can't really close out an OOC, so.
Diane?
Just for a procedural thing, are we on the enforcement order still, or have we?
Well,
Move
technically,
to
it's
the
not an
certificate of
enforcement order.
compliance.
Yeah, it was just a violation notice, so it's an update on the violation notice. I guess we should probably table any discussion on the certificate of compliance until later in the next section on the agenda. So this is, I guess we'll just consider this an update.
Mhm.
Okay, but it looks good. Thanks. 62-minute road. Okay, so the next item on the agenda is request for an extension of an order of conditions, DEP file number 50-1350, 110 Hay Street. This was work associated with invasive species control. No,
This
or
is
the other one? This is the
This
dock.
is this is the extension of the installation of the seasonal gangway and the floating dock.
So they're just looking for, I believe, a 3-year extension. Is anyone on the call representing 110 Hay Street? Sounds like not. Okay, I don't have any objection to a 3-year extension. I'm going to turn it around. Diane?
No, isn't this one that we give mandatory?
It's not mandatory. I mean,
Huh.
if there's a problem, if there's any change in the regulations that might affect the ability of the project to comply with the standards, or if there's lack of compliance in general, then we don't have to issue it.
I have no problem at all.
Yeah.
issuing it.
Okay, Woody?
Nope, sounds good.
Okay,
It's
and
a
Nick?
work in progress.
No, I'm in favor.
Okay. So I would entertain a motion to extend the order of conditions for 110 Hay Street, 50-1350 for 3 years as requested.
So moved?
Second?
All in favor, Diane,
Yes.
Woody,
Yes,
and Mick?
Aye.
And I vote in favor as well. Okay, next items,
Gunnar
certificate.
votes in favor.
What's that?
I don't know if you heard my dog in the background. I think he votes in favor, so.
Oh.
Okay, got it. All right, we're moving on to certificates of compliance here. So the first one is 62 Middle Road. We just discussed that. 50-1419. And there is a request to close out the open order of conditions and obtain a certificate of compliance. Any further thoughts on this, Diane?
Nothing further at this point, just because it's not ready.
Okay, and Woody
Agreed.
and Mick?
Yeah, agreed.
Okay, and I
Continue.
agree as well. So I think the consensus of the board is that this one is not ready for certificate of compliance, so we'd like to monitor it until vegetation is growing. So I don't know if we need a motion to that effect, or a vote on this particular thing. At this, I might as well take a vote.
Are we
So all in
denying?
favor of the motion to continue the certificate of compliance until vegetation is established. Diane?
Yes.
Yes. Woody
Yes.
and Mick?
Aye.
And I vote yes as well. Okay. The next one is 53 Green Street, to close out the open order of conditions on the property and request a certificate of compliance. We also had a site visit on this. There was a question about mitigation plantings and whether they had been installed. And they were installed upon inspection, and the fence was put up further from the wetland than the approved plan required. So I'm gonna go around and ask if everyone is comfortable with this one at this point. So Diane?
Yeah, I didn't, the stockade fence, is that a 50 fence?
This was a split rail fence, and it was
Oh, okay.
it
Oh, yeah, wait.
wasn't on
okay,
Plum Island.
yes,
Yeah.
Yes, I was fine. I was there, yeah.
Yep.
Sorry.
And Woody?
I went to the sidewalk, but no one was there, so I will,
Oh, okay.
you guys go with what you saw because I didn't see it.
Okay. And Mick?
I was unable to attend.
Okay, we did attend it, the site looks great. There's nice lush grass growing. It's very stable.
Awesome.
It looks in good shape and according to the plan. We do have an as-built plan and a statement from the project engineer, which was discussed at the last meeting. So with all that information, I would entertain a motion to issue a certificate of compliance for 53 Green Street.
So moved.
Second?
Okay, all in favor, Diane,
Yes.
Woody,
Yes.
and Mick?
Aye.
And I vote in favor as well. Okay, now moving on to 68 Green Street, lots 1 and lot 2, both requesting certificates of compliance. There is Mason has not had an opportunity to do a site visit at these properties. This came in fairly recently. There was a lot of work involved, 2 new homes. So I think that we need to extend this to the next meeting so that we have an opportunity to take a look at it. If folks want to take a look at it after we look at Riverview, we could do that. Mason, do you have any other updates on these 2 lots?
No other updates at this time. I have a updated plan that has the accurate scale on it that I will upload to the Dropbox if you guys end up doing the site walk there Saturday. But that's all.
Is there anyone here in attendance tonight that would like to speak on behalf of 68 Green Street requests for certificates of compliance?
Good evening, TJ Melvin with Millennium Engineering. I don't really have anything to add, but I'd be happy to answer any questions if the commission has any at this point.
No, I think we just need a little bit of time to review this one, TJ. So if
Yeah,
that
no problem.
is acceptable, we can, Mason will do a site visit, and if he sees anything of concern, he'll let you know and
Okay.
provide us with a report for the next meeting.
All right, sounds good.
And that'll be for both lots 1 and lot 2. Okay, so moving on, 6:45. Running a little behind. So this is a new public hearing, new notice of intent, DEP file number 50 dash, I think there is a file number, 1436 for number 286 High Road to construct an addition to the existing single-family dwelling with associated utilities and expanded driveway within a 100-foot buffer zone to Salt Marsh area. Is there someone in attendance who would like to present this project?
Yeah, my name's William Holt, and I am here on behalf of the applicant, Ron Hasker. I believe Matt Cummings is the architect, and he is also present. And Patrick Seecamp was the wetland scientist who delineated the wetlands for the project. They're all present. I don't know if Matt wants to start or if he wants me to start. It's up to.
Why don't you start, Bill, and show us the site plan?
I can do that. I can share my screen if that's okay.
Mhm.
Since I figure out where it is. That ain't it. Sorry. Let's see. No, probably this. Here we go. All right, can you see that?
Yes.
Yes.
So this is the site plan. Let me just give it a little tweak. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit on the existing conditions. They're both on the same page, side by side, just to make it a little easier for you to see what's going on. But let me explain the existing situations. Right now, the property is 286 High Road, sorry, map R12 lot 1. Currently owned by Ron Hasker, who's the applicant. It's approximately a half an acre property, zone residential, has an existing 3-bedroom home on the property. It's located right in this location, I'm highlighting. There's a existing driveway, which is a cobble driveway that comes in and turns around and goes to a existing barn. It's located in this area. The existing septic is right behind the existing house, right in this location. It's 32 by 13. That was replaced in 2014, I believe. An application was before the board back then, before the commission, to replace that. And served by town water. I mean, I'm sorry, town water. Existing well located in this area. And existing tree line. Let me zoom in a little bit to give it a little better view. So the lot is pretty much developed. You see a hedge line on the left-hand side, on the southerly side of the property. There's an existing wood deck that has access down to Salt Marsh and goes out to a boat ramp and a boat dock that was permitted in 2014 as well. The existing tree line is right behind that deck. It kind of follows right behind the property. I'm following it with my cursor. That's the existing shrub and tree line all the way over to the right-hand side and kind of comes back along the property line to the front. So the existing barn is located here, and the wetlands is a salt marsh identified by Pat Seecamp. This is the first resource area, and it is flags A1, originally flags A1 to flag A9, which is towards the street. Over here, so it came along here. Total slope, it's a very steep slope from the lawn area, which is the interface with the tree line. This is all lawn around the house, except for where the driveway and the buildings are. And the wetlands say A9 all the way back to A1. And just recently, we went out earlier in September, and I used GPS to relocate the flag line with Patrick Seecamp present, and he followed me and verified that the stakes I was putting in or the locations I was putting in was the original flag locations. We actually found a few of the stubs in 2014 on branches that he had hung on before. Refreshed the flags, I think a couple of them, I think on this area over here, A1 and A2 had moved up a hill a little bit, about 2-3 feet. So we relocated those and showed the new location. And then we added flag A1A and A1B, which extends the wetland line towards the property line, because it had stopped at A1 previously for the septic design, which was over here. We didn't feel that we had to go beyond A1 for the work that was proposed for the septic. But we did extend it most recently. So there's flag A1A and A1B that were added. Also on the property, there's a riverbank to the Parker River, and I showed this 200-foot riverfront area. The riverfront was established by the mean high water, which is elevation 3.3, which is the NAVD 88 datum. So that's a 200-foot line from the riverbank based on that elevation. And I will note that the 3.3 elevation pretty much coincides with the actual observable break and grade, and where the salt marsh vegetation begins. It pretty much parallels that line. It's a pretty decent elevation to go with the bank. So that shows that line, the 200 feet riverfront area, which is in our property, is on the property, but will not affect the work that we're proposing, because all the work will be done over by the existing barn area in the house, to the right of the barn. So additional area of resource area we have is 100-year floodplain, which is elevation 13, which is this red line here. It's identified. It could actually be extended out, but it basically follows that between those two contour lines. That's 12 and 14. So it continues on in that same direction. Again, we're not doing any work in the floodplain or in the salt marsh. Work is all on the upper level of the property, which is about 7 or 8, 9 feet above the resource delineation of the salt marsh, which is elevation approximately 6 and 7. As you can see, the elevations I took at those flag locations. Lastly, we have an ACEC, the Great Marsh, which is identified as elevation 10 for 1929 datum, which is elevation 9.2 on the newer 88 datum. That will fall between 8 and 9, so it's down in this area. If I use 10 as the elevation, just because it's simple to see that line, would follow this elevation right here. And so that's the limit of the ACEC, and we're not doing any work in this proposal in the ACEC area as well. So that's the existing conditions, and I'm going to slide it over to the, if I can find a way to do that. Slide it over to the proposed, and you'll see what we are proposing. So again, here's the existing house, existing deck. There's a septic tank. That's the leach area. The existing barn is in this area right now. The existing barn was, I'm sorry, go back, slide back. The existing barn was 42.7 feet from the salt marsh. A little closer to the property line, 16 feet from the property line, which is the stone wall in the back. And there's a fence along the back. It's it's an old fence. There's still some posts back there, but a lot less posts than there used to be. Back in 2014, there were more. That is the property line in the back. So what they're proposing is to take the old building down and rebuild it on a new foundation, a larger foundation, propose a garage under and a living space above. In addition, they'll connect between the building, the existing house, and that new garage with a proposed slab and crawl space. And the reason why that's on a slab and that's on a crawl space is we have to be so far from the septic system, 10 feet from a slab and 20 feet from a crawl space. So they couldn't put a full foundation under those two portions of the addition. And then a porch on piers in the back will be also proposed. In addition to that, they want to do a garage under on the right-hand side. So having a driveway come off the existing driveway and come into the garage, and then a little turnaround and come back out. The impact on the property is about 5,836 square feet in the buffer zone. The buffer zone is this red line out here. It's the 100-foot buffer zone. And as part of the driveway, we're gonna put a little wall in here to keep the grade, where the well is existing with its lawn. In the back, there'll be a small area that will be affected by the new work. Small area of the vegetation. It's about 234 square feet, I believe. Area in this right through here where the vegetation is now that will have to be cut back to and loam stripped and then a gravel base put down for the proposed turnaround back driveway. And let's see, so now the new proposed addition will be 33.8 feet at its closest point to the porch and 34.9 to the actual proposed garage. And of course, the house stays the same. Porch is a little further than that, but that's the closest point. To the driveway, it's 40.5 to the edge of the driveway here and 42.6 to the edge of the driveway at that location. Again, we're not doing any work down below. It's all going to stay up. We do have proposed hay bales to be installed, or silt fence, silt sock or straw wattle to be installed prior to construction to keep any erosion from going into the down the slope and into the wetlands. Resource areas. We do have a tree here. It's a mature tree that's going to have to be removed to build the driveway. And it's a small area of vegetation there. Not subject to the stormwater management, but we will be designing a roof runoff for the proposed garage area that's being added. And that's going to be right behind the garage itself. And we have a detail down below of that, which is over here. It's plastic chambers in the ground where the overflow is designed for, well, originally designed for a 1/2 inch of runoff, which is the first flush. It's actually over designed by 200%. So it's actually designed for the first inch of runoff, which will be treated and then infiltrated, and any excess will have an overflow out of that into the will flow in down to here if it fills up, which it probably will in a larger storm. We also are proposing a stone trench infiltration along the edge of the driveway. I'm showing the proposed drive. It's 20. Sorry, find that number. It's 2,110 square feet of proposed new driveway. And I designed it as it was paved. It may not be paved. I would have to refer to the Matt or Ron as to what they're actually going to propose for a surface. I did design it as though it was paved for this infiltration trench. So I designed that also for the 1/2 inch. And again, it's designed for 200% larger than that. So it's actually designed for the 1 inch runoff. Again, that's the first flush, which is where most of the contaminants would be, and they will then be infiltrated into the soil. And again, there's no need to mitigate for like the 100-year storm because it's a single lot and doesn't need to be, doesn't require that for a single lot stormwater management. So that's basically the proposal. If you have any questions, I'd be willing to try to answer them. There is no natural heritage as well. I wanted to mention that. Did check that. There's no natural heritage habitat. And I think that's it. And I can say, but I know.
Thanks,
So,
Bill.
I don't know if Mason got a chance to take a look at the flags. We did say back on, I think it was middle of September. Patrick and I went out and replaced all the flags, so they're definitely there. They're a little hard to see. You have to look for them because it's got some good vegetation in the back there. But it is at the toe of slope, as you can tell. It's sloping right down, and then it's pretty flat beyond that.
Okay, thanks. Thanks, Bill. And before I ask members for comment, Mason, are there any updates or any other information that we should be aware of with this
No,
file?
not at the time. I haven't been able to get out to the site yet.
Okay. Yeah, there's a fair amount of work proposed in jurisdictional areas, so this may be one that we want to have a site visit on as well. Couple quick notes before I pass it on to the other members. If you could leave the plan up, Bill, that would be helpful.
Sorry.
Yeah, thanks. The,
Okay.
if you could calculate the total area of impact, we just need to confirm that the town's stormwater bylaw doesn't kick in, which I think is one acre of disturbance. So you may be well under that, but if you could just confirm that, it doesn't have to be right now, but to provide that information. Also, on the delineation, it appears that there's coastal bank as well. That's not been identified on the site. So that would be something that I would be looking for. So I'm gonna turn it over to Diane.
I had a question on the delineation. You're basing everything off the delineation that was done back in 2014, is that right?
No, actually, we are. I went back out with GPS and was able to relocate the flags by survey, which we had located back in 2014. And when I was relocating the flags, resetting the flags, Patrick was present, and he verified the line as I was telling him this is the location where A9 is. He was taking a look at the vegetation, looking at the soils, and was indicating that if it was the same, he would put the flag back up. If it was closer, he would tell me, and we would relocate it. So flags A1 and A2 were changed slightly uphill when we got to that point. A3 to A9 remained the same. We added A1A and A1B, which were not present in 2014. But this happens to be from A3 to A9, the same line. It didn't change any. It's literally elevation 6, then it goes straight up to the top of the slope, which is about elevation 16, 18. So it's pretty straightforward in terms of where that line starts.
Yes.
And the elevations all seem to be pretty close to one another as well as we shot them. So they
So
were
Patrick-
verified with Patrick. Yep, is Patrick, I think, present, so I'm not sure if he's able to speak on that.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna just ask Patrick, that as far as, so you've verified that what was back in 2014 is the same as it's marked on the present plan? That's the current delineation as of 2024, correct?
If Patrick's there. He's
Oh,
got his
someone
hand up.
needs to,
Okay, here I am. Can you guys hear me?
I can.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, so Commissioner O'Brien, the delineation for all practical purposes is current. It was done maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. I think what Bill's point was, this was the original delineation from the original notice of intent permitting in 2014. It didn't change much, but it did change a little bit, which I adjusted the flags as Bill suggested. It's actually it's a little higher, which happens, you probably can never, although it is a very distinct topographical break at the bottom of the slope. So you really come out of Salt Marsh directly to upland for almost the entire length of that flag line. There's a couple of areas where there might be a shad bush or a arrowwood or a glossy buckthorn that's, could potentially be a BVW edge, but it would only be a foot to foot and a half wide, and then it's mostly salt marsh right at the bottom of the slope.
Okay,
And
yeah, because
I'm sorry, I just wanted to mention, I heard Mary's comment about coastal bank. That's correct. We will, this is likely gonna be the 100-year flood elevation, Mary, because of how steep the slope is.
Yeah, as long as you use DEP policy guidance and do some transects, on the plan, we can look
Yeah.
at it.
Okay. I'm sorry, Commissioner O'Brien, you had another question?
no, that was fine. Just the narrative mentioned that it was a 2014 plan, and I just wanted to make sure that it had been updated, which apparently it has been. My other one, just a quick one, the existing driveway with the pavers, is that still going to be there, or is that being removed in lieu of the new driveway going in?
My understanding is it's going to stay. I don't know if it's going to be shortened in this area right here where it could be rounded off and that could be restored as lawn vegetated. Because the driveway is gonna, the garage is gonna be on this side. Right now, there's no real garage door there. It's just,
Do you mind if I speak to that?
sure, I'll let Matt speak to that.
Hi, my name is Matthew Cummings from Cummings Architects. So, this design is a barn design. And so the intent is to have the image that somebody would be able to pull a cart straight up to it. Now, that doesn't mean that the materials have to be impervious. They could be pervious. Or maybe a little bit more. But, you know, to sort of like historically have a barn without a pathway to the front of the barn would be a little odd. I understand that might be contradictory towards limiting the impervious area, and we're respectful to that. So if there needs to be some math and a play on pervious and impervious, we would look forward to that.
Okay, that was all.
Well,
Mhm,
just
fine.
one more thing, if that's okay. And I
Sure.
fully understand that the Conservation Commission, you know, their concern is not necessarily historic context, but this house really is like a gateway into the town. So we want to be as respectful as we can, not to everything, frankly. And so that's my last comment.
In the restrictive deeds and all that, none of that affects this project, right? I'm assuming.
We're meeting all the deed criteria.
Okay. Okay, like that. I'm good.
Thanks, Diane. Nick, do you have any comments?
I'll probably have more. I'd like to do a site visit, of course. Just question on the site plan, super detailed. Thank you for that. But I'm trying to call out of it. There's a red dot dash line or a dash dot kind of extends around the property. I was wondering, what is
No,
that?
That's the building setback, zoning setback.
Oh, okay.
Right there, building setback, typical.
Yeah.
So that's the
And-
required front and side yards.
Right, and again, my question was similar to Mary's, that with the existing paver drive, so intention is to have it remain in place as is, right? And I haven't seen
Here
it.
is that yes, the
Yeah.
idea is you drive in and you drive back out as opposed to back out onto the street.
Right, understood. So that is a true paver drive, or would you consider it pervious, semi-pervious, impervious, based on its current condition? I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I would consider it semi-pervious. It's not gravel, but it's not paved.
It's been there a while. It's packed in and
Yeah, it can have some infiltration through the seams, but typically those clog up with some finer material, so it's not porous pavers, that's for sure. It's cobbled.
Right.
What
right.
about
Okay. All right, and Matt and Bill, just I'm orienting myself correctly. We're directly across the river from the Riverfront Marine, right?
Yes,
correct?
Same side. Okay. All right. Cool.
I just make another comment.
It's on the north side,
okay.
though.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
north side of the river, not on the riverfront.
Right.
Yeah. North side of the river, across from Riverfront.
If it's okay, I'd like to make a comment.
The bridge starts right here, right at
Oh.
the property line, essentially.
But that your only other comment, Nick?
No, I'll reserve the following a site walk.
Okay.
Boots on the ground and see what we're looking at.
Okay. And Woody, do you have any comments?
I will comment, a sidewalk would be useful.
Yeah.
And on the north side of the property line where it says existing fence, I believe there's a tall row of arborvitaes, I believe, or some sort of plant. They've grown quite tall. And the sidewalk would be helpful because I wouldn't want to impact the screening that they have between the neighbors and themselves there with the driveway, if the driveway affects that. And I'll save any other, I'm also interested in what the new driveway would be material wise, but I'll save any other questions for after the sidewalk.
Thanks, Woody.
Thank
and one question before I turn it over to the public, are there any open order of conditions on this property? Has there been a certificate of compliance issued for the 2014 order of conditions?
That I don't recall. I will check and we can close that out if there is. That was for, I believe 2014 was for the dock.
And then there was one for the septic.
The septic was right before that, so, yeah.
Okay, if you could check on that, that'd be great, because we'd like to have those closed out before issuing any new orders.
So Mary, I'll make sure to let the client know, but I can't say definitively, I'm reasonably positive that he made a point of doing that in the past year. closing
Okay.
it.
That very
I'll
well
ver-
could be, and I
I'll
missed it,
verify.
so Mason can check on that as well. So are there any members of the public that would like to comment on 286 High Road? Any hands up? Okay. So we have a request for site visit, and not wanting to burden everyone on their Saturday mornings and load up on site visits. Does anybody have suggestions for when they'd like to take a look at this?
Do we only have the one? We're not doing, did you say Mason's doing the 68 Green Street ones?
Well, anybody who would wanna, we
But
could
I
do
just
it,
knew
we could
that's
do it
not-
then, we could do it then as well.
But I didn't know if
We didn't
were-
schedule it in particular, yeah.
No, I was just thinking if we weren't doing Green Street, then it might not hurt to just go right over after.
Do like a 9:45.
I'm not available this weekend. I'm going to Maine, so I won't be
Okay,
around.
yeah.
I think it would be helpful to have it staked out too, Bill.
Okay. Yeah,
so-
that would, yeah, so since I'm going away, I probably won't be able to stake it out until sometime next week, so.
Okay, so
When
we're
I'm
looking at
We can,
Sorry.
so
Yeah.
do you want to try to set something up for the week of the October 7th? Is that the week you're away, Bill, or
Nope, October 7th, that's not this weekend, right? That's the following weekend. That
that's
should
a
be fine.
Monday, but Tuesday, we usually do Tuesday mornings, so October 8th.
That will work probably.
What time?
That would be like 9:30ish.
Ooh,
We could do it before, we could do 8:30 and meet and do the other one at 9.
how about 8 o'clock?
On the
wait a
8th.
second. You're talking about Tuesday, the 8th, Mary. I thought, did you previously
right.
say you were
I'm
available on Tuesday?
Yeah, let's do 8. We can do 8 on the 8th. I'm up for that.
Yeah, I will not be available, but I can set up something separately with Mason, because I don't want to hold up, I'll be gone that whole next week of the 7th.
Yeah.
Can you do that, Mary?
What's that?
With Diane? On 8
Um,
on the 8th?
8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that was super positive, yeah.
I'll be driving there Saturday, I'll be driving there Tuesday, so that's fine. 8 o'clock Tuesday.
All right. We'll get you
Bill,
in
would that
now.
give you opportunity to stake that out ahead of time?
Yeah, I
Oh.
should be able to.
Okay. All right, so we have a request for a site visit on October 8th at 8 o'clock. Do we have a request from the applicant to continue the public hearing?
Yeah, yes,
Okay, thanks. Bill was muted. I assume you mean to October 15th? To the next meeting?
the 15th. We'll spend special time together that evening.
October 15th. So do we have a motion to continue the public hearing to October 15th with a site visit on October 8th at 8 AM?
So moved.
Second,
All in favor, Diane,
Yes.
Mick?
Aye.
And Woody,
Yes,
and I vote yes as well. So thanks very much. We look forward
You.
to learning more about the project at the site visit.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay,
Thank you.
okay, where are we? Let's see. The next item on the agenda is DEP file number 50-1432. That's 3 Newburyport Turnpike for construction of a mixed-use residential building and parking area, installation of utilities, and all associated grading within 100 feet of a BVW and IVW, which doesn't apply in this case because we don't have that resource in Newbury. But in any event, I think we have a request for a continuation. Is that correct, Mason?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. Did you receive that in writing?
Yep, let me pull that up.
Oh, geez, I had to step away for a second.
Yep, so they'll be continuing until the October 15th.
Okay, great, thank you. So do we have a motion for a continuation of DP file number 50-1432 to October 15th?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor, Diane,
Yes.
Woody,
Yes,
and Mick? Mick's frozen, but
Oh,
did you vote yes too? And I vote yes as well, thanks.
Yep.
Okay, next item on the agenda is 50- no file number 46B Cottage Road, demolition and removal of the existing residential structure, followed by the construction of a new 3-bedroom, single-family residential structure on a full foundation and other associated site improvements. Associated site improvements include new septic tank and pump chamber, installation and new paved driveway, and reconnection to existing utility services. I believe we also have a request for a continuation on this. So I would entertain a motion for a continuation to the October 15th meeting.
So moved.
second?
second,
All in favor, Diane,
Yes.
Woody,
yes,
Mick,
Aye.
and I vote aye as well. Next item on the agenda, 50-1435, 2 to 8 Old Point Road. Applicant proposes to remove one existing landscape boat feature to permit one previously installed 8x20 temporary structure on the plans as the mobile merch container, and to complete installation of previously approved plantings in various alternative locations and species. Prior plantings had been approved as part of DEP file 50-1344. There's also been a request for a continuation of this item on the agenda. So I would entertain a motion for a continuation of this item to the October 15th meeting.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor, Diane,
Yes.
Woody,
yes.
and Mick?
Aye.
I vote yes as well. So, are there any other staff reports or updates that we should be aware of, Mason?
No, not at this time.
Okay. Well, I guess we have another one in the books then. Any other final thoughts before we adjourn?
Who adjourn?
All right, all in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
Nick, Diane, yes,
Aye.
aye.
Yes.
Everybody's in favor.
So I guess we'll see each other Saturday morning.
Saturday bright and early. What time?
Saturday
is it?
at
9 a.m.?
I'll
9 a.m.
send out the reminders and such, so everyone has
Okay.
it.
Yeah, that'd be helpful.
Thanks,
Thanks.
Mason.
Yep,
Great.
Appreciate
Thank
you
you.
assisting my failed memory, Mason, so.
no worries.
Thank
Okay.
you.
All right, thank you all.
See you then.